Hi, Teresa here. Welcome to Master Your Mind, Session 3. I hope you were able to do some of the homework activities that I gave you last time. Let me go back. Let me go get my PowerPoint and try to share my screen with you. Okay, let me see here. Slideshow, current slide. Okay, so Session 3. Last time we talked about writing some scripts for different areas of your life, creating a vision board, looking at it multiple times a day. And the point behind those activities were the more you get clear on your vision and what you want, the more you visit that vision, the faster you'll attract those components into your life. So we were trying to get you to get this stuff in front of you on a regular daily basis, to substitute all of this good vision, positive thoughts, scripts, everything that you want, everything that you desire, everything we want you to focus on. We want you to do it every day, all the time, so that you're pushing out the old negative stuff and bringing in and bombarding your mind with the new stuff. So that's our whole goal here. So if you have not done some of the activities, I encourage you to go back and do some of them. Pick and choose, get something under your belt so you can get clarity on what you want and be able to visualize your future as it could be and as you want it. I hope you at least did the vision board. Vision boards are just awesome. I've done several of them. I have some that I look at every single day. And it just gives your mind something to focus on. And focus is the name of the game if you've been paying attention to what we've been talking about here. So let's get into Session 3 because we have lots of stuff to cover. So how powerful is your mind? You know, you just look around and everything that you see, somebody created it just from their thoughts. They thought of something, they acted upon it, and they created it. It came into being. Isn't that incredible? Everything, the chair, the curtains, the car you drive, the colors on your wall, somebody imagined that in their mind, took action on it, believed it could happen, and it happened. So everything around you has happened in that way. Think about your current life. You know, is it the way you want it? You know, possibly negative thoughts have created some negative results. Hopefully, positive thoughts have created some positive results in your mind. In your life from your mind. But just kind of pay attention to what's happening right now, currently. Remember, every thought has a creative power. And happy people spend their lives thinking happy, positive thoughts. People who are miserable probably have spent most of their time thinking negative, miserable thoughts. You know, just look around and see people around you and see what they've created based on their thoughts. Once you have that realization, it's amazing what you can actually see. So let's see, we need to look at your dominant thought patterns. So changing your life is going to need to happen based on your dominant thought patterns and getting them to change in a more positive direction. And the power of your thoughts, this is not a recent discovery. This has actually been going on for eons. All leading edge thinkers have understood it throughout human history. And Deb Erickson goes through and cites some of those examples. I'm not going to really get into them, but once you understand this stuff and you go start looking at people back through history, and even the Bible. Even the Bible has a new perspective for me now that I understand and know this. You can actually see this stuff woven in through the Bible. So let's take a look at, again, thoughts have the power to create because they have the power to attract. Okay, that's an important statement. Thoughts have the power to create because they have the power to attract. Remember, once you open a file, which are just thoughts, beliefs in your head, that thought becomes active. And that means once it's active and it's open, it's sending out energy all over the place. Okay, and that energy as pulling power that is attracting similar energy, similar thoughts, similar experiences back to you. So it's like you open that file, your mind focuses on it, and it becomes like a magnet dragging in all this other energy that's similar or the same back to you. And bam, you get what you're thinking about. If you ever, I remember when I was pregnant, I kept seeing pregnant people everywhere, all over the place. It's like there was a huge influx of pregnant moms at that point in time. There really wasn't. It just that my mind was thinking about being pregnant, and so I started seeing pregnant people everywhere. Now I rarely do because I'm not focused on that. So once you understand this concept, that your mind is focused, it's attracting, you will start to notice things that you didn't notice before. Come on, come on. Okay. So most of us do think the same thoughts over and over again, day in, day out, day in, day out. You know, our brain loves patterns. It loves habits. It loves to take the easy way of, you know, just doing the same thing over and over and over and over. We get very comfortable with that. We start to kick into autopilot, and we never even realize that we've gotten into autopilot and that we are stuck in these patterns. I know people in my own life that they have no awareness that they're stuck in the same pattern for years and years and years and years. They just run automatically. So of course we're here to change that for ourselves. So you must change your thinking if you want to change your life. We don't want to continue getting the same thing over and over and over and over, especially if you're tired of it. If you're tired of the same old, same thoughts, same routine, same environment, same blah, 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 blah. Especially if they're negative. If we have negative thoughts, negative habits, negative patterns, we want to change that over to positive thoughts, positive patterns, so that positive things and situations and people start being pulled into us and being attracted to us. Oh, sorry, I thought I was going to lose my laptop there for a second. I want to remind you that roughly 85% of the thoughts we thought today, we thought yesterday, and the day before, and the day before. 85% of all thoughts we are thinking over and over and over and over every single day. And we're creating this rut. We've grooved this rut into our brain, where our patterns have just been so entrenched, they become so comfortable, we just sometimes aren't even noticing that they're not the best ruts for us. And especially we want to create something new, so we have to figure out how to get out of that rut and create some new patterns for our brain to focus on. Okay, let's see. As children, you know, children we start out as a free spirit, and we believe anything is possible, and we're invincible. And then we start having life experiences, and we start to question our greatness, and we start to question our perfection, and we start to get bombarded with all these messages that we're not good enough, we're imperfect, blah, 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 blah. Be afraid of this. Don't do that. So nobody does that intentionally. That's just part of our culture and what we believe is the way things are supposed to be. So our mind is very moldable, very innocent at that point in time, and you don't even realize as a child that you're taking on all these other people's beliefs. Okay, and even as a parent and a teacher and a trusted friend, you don't, think about the fact that everything you say and do is being funneled into that child, and they're just picking up on that and assimilating that, and that's becoming their own personal thought patterns. Even advertisements, just the advertisements we see in the world, the news, we're all picking up on that even now. Authority figures, they tell us what to think, what to believe, how to behave, and we believe that to be truth for ourselves. We don't realize that it could be lopsided and not really a good thing for us. It might have been a good thing for that authority figure, but not for us, but we take it on anyway. When I first realized as an adult that a lot of my beliefs and a lot of the patterns I was thinking were really not mine, they were really part of my family dynamics or, a particular parent, that was huge. That was absolutely huge for me. It was like a big burden was lifted off of me. And I realized, I don't have to think like that anymore because that wasn't mine anyway. So when you can get that realization, trust me, it's going to be a real shift for you. So some destructive declarations that we hear. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. Boys don't cry. Who do you think you are? We all hear these comments growing up. Again, parents are not doing this intentionally. Well, maybe some are, but the bulk of them are not. They're just trying to live the best life they can and be the best parent they can at that point in time with what they have, understanding of. So you just, as a child, then you start to take these beliefs on yourself, and these declarations you hold as true for yourself. And the analogy is another bar goes up, and then another bar, and then another bar, and then another bar. So you're creating this cage around you that you don't even realize is happening. And many people go through their whole life without even realizing they have created this cage for themselves, and they don't think there's any way out of it. Unless you learn what we're learning here in these series of talks that I'm sharing with you from Deb Erickson. So guess what? Our programming can be changed. So all that stuff that we got imprinted with as we got to this point in our life, we can change all that. We have choices. We can choose to think something different. We can choose to feed our mind with positive thoughts. We can choose to free our spirit and to allow our heart to open up and sing. We can choose to be bold in our thinking. So we actually have those choices. Some people don't believe they do have choices. I had a family member tell me that, that's just the way she is. She had no concept that she could change the way she is to something else, to something better. And that was really sad to hear. Of course, we want to choose constructive choices. We want to choose to think positive thoughts. You want to go in the positive direction all the time. Positive mind sees possibilities and opportunities. A closed, caged, limited mind does not. A limited mind sees limitations. A positive mind sees infinite possibilities. And then in your own mind, I'm going to ask you, do you believe this? Do you believe the statement that says a positive mind sees possibilities and opportunities, and you can choose to think positive thoughts? How you answer that is the key to your future. If you believe that all you have to do is change your thinking habits, then you are well on your way to changing your life experiences. So ask yourself, do you believe this? Kind of think of it this way. Let's say we grew up wearing smudgy sunglasses, glasses that were dark and we had trouble seeing and they were blocking our view. And it kind of alters the way you see life. And then you got a new pair of glasses. You've heard the phrase, you're wearing rose-colored glasses. Okay, that's the ones I want. Rose-colored glasses make you feel optimistic because the world looks bright and glowing and vibrant and unlimited possibilities. Whereas the dirty, smudgy glasses make you feel oppressed because everything's dark and gloomy. Whereas the rose-colored glasses, everything's like, oh yeah, this is exactly the way I want it. So which glasses do you want to wear? The dark, smudgy ones or the rose-colored glasses with a clearer view where everything is rosy and popping up roses? Have you ever been to a 3D movie with the 3D glasses? I don't go to those. I did it once and I did not care for it. But those glasses are tricking your mind into believing that everything that's going on is real. Okay, so it's an illusion. It's tricking your brain. And you have those same experiences every day. You have filters that your brain is filtering your reality through that are telling you that everything you see through these filters, through these smudgy glasses, are indeed fact, and they are real. Okay, so kind of look at that and grasp what I just said and what you're reading. Right now, it's totally possible that you have these dirty, smudgy glasses on, and you need to replace them with rose-colored glasses. And once you do, a whole new world opens up for you. So here's another activity for you. NTP, or negative thought patterns, just so you know that NTP is like a short reference acronym. So those are things, negative thought patterns that are running through your head constantly on a regular basis. So in your notebook, we're going to ask you to, write down everything that causes you to worry, and then categorize them. Put your categories on a page, one on each page. What worries you about your kids, about your body, about your job, about your employer? Write down everything that you can think of that causes you to worry. Just put it down. Don't judge it. Don't worry about it. Just put it down. This is called, again, brain dumping. You're just dumping everything out of your brain as much as possible. Worry is one of the most powerful negative thought patterns in your mind. And if you do worry, you're going to be guaranteed that you get the very things that you worry about, because it's going to attract those negative energies to you. So there's worry, there's any other negative thought pattern would be like resentment, anger, doubt, jealousy, panic, dread. I'm sure you can come up with your own list of descriptive words. So this is the first step, is to look to see what's in your head by dumping it on paper. Maybe look at your life and see if you can understand what's going on in your life based on what you're seeing on your paper after you brain dump all this negative stuff. And again, you're just noticing, you're just trying to become aware. Okay, this is I just spoke about. Worry is the most powerful negative thought pattern, along with some of these other things. So again, look at them, look at your life, see if you can see anything that kind of makes sense to you. Because remember, all of your life experiences were created in your mind to begin with, based on what your thoughts are and have been, that you've been habitually thinking about. And I'm saying you, but I don't mean you directly, I mean us in general. So maybe I need to change that. So expressing appreciation is one way to kind of counterbalance that. Okay, it's a positive thought pattern, a PTP. It is the most powerful. So we have worry on this side and appreciation on this side. So then we're going to ask you, what do you appreciate about your home, your family, your children, your body, your job, in whatever categories you want to put down on paper. So now you're going to do the opposite. Write down each category, brain dump about everything you appreciate about those different parts of your life. You might want to see which one was easier for you. The appreciation brain dumping or the worry negative thought pattern brain dumping. Just notice. Here's a list of some positive thought patterns: love, gratitude, excitement, happiness, confidence, hope, peace, trust. These are all positive thought patterns that we want in our brain. So look around your life, see where all of these descriptors are in your life and what they're attracting to you. So we have two brain dump activities. The negative thought patterns is one, and the positive thought patterns is another one. And again, just notice. Don't judge, just notice. Okay, here's another activity for you to try. You know what a time machine is, where the people in the movie get into a time machine and they're able to go backwards in time. So we're just going to kind of use our time machine. So pick one of those negative thoughts that you just brain dumped, or you will brain dump. It can be anyone. It can be in any category. Doesn't matter. You pick. And then imagine, what if you continue to think that thought over and over and over habitually for the next 5 years? How are you going to feel? What is your life going to look like? And is it something you want? Is it something that you want? If you can imagine what it's going to be in 5 years, if you keep continuing that negative thought pattern, how is that going to affect your life, and how's it going to play out in 5 years? It's a powerful activity. Of course, we're going to flip-flop that with positive thoughts. So this time we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to pick a positive thought and imagine how it would be if you thought that positive thought over and over and over and over and over and over every day with intention. I am confident. I am confident. I come to every situation with confidence. I walk with confidence. I speak with confidence. And that was just your focus. And you had feelings around that statement of being confident, where would you be in 5 years? And what type of a life would you have created with that positive thought? And is that something you would want to be experiencing in 5 years? Do you end up on the 5 year in 5 years? Do you want that negative experience of life, or do you want that positive experience of life? Just something to think about. This is an interesting quote from Thomas Edison, who was a very wise man, and I am, in my opinion, I am certain he understood this power of attraction. If we did all the things we were capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go into session 4. If you want to stay, fine. If you want to go, just come back to the recording and find this spot and continue on with session 4. But I'm going to go ahead and move into session 4. You decide what you want to do, okay? So if you're going to go, bye-bye. We'll see you the next time. And if you just came to session 4, welcome back. I'm Teresa, and we're going to move into session 4. I hope you're able to do some of your homework and you kind of played with the idea of where would you be in 5 years if you repeated a negative thought and emotion over and over every day, or if you repeated a positive emotion every single day. Where would you be in 5 years? I hope you were able to play with that for a little bit. Okay, so feel it. The mind doesn't understand the difference between a memory, a current condition you're observing right now, or a future event. The past, the present, and the future are all the same to your mind. It does not distinguish between the two of them, or excuse me, the three of them. It doesn't care. It thinks everything is right now. So if you're ruminating on the past, then it's bringing up those emotions and it's going to hold you in that energy, and that's what you're going to attract. If you're projecting into the future and thinking negative thoughts about something happening in a negative way in the future, guess what's going to happen there? Now that based on what you know, you're going to be attracting those negative experiences to you. That's another powerful realization. So I'm going to ask you to recall a time when you felt powerful. And we're going to go open that file. Remember, the file is our metaphor that we're using. You're going to open that file of that time when you felt powerful. And then close your eyes and let your mind wander back to that point in time. And just think about it. Find a memory that's going to help you feel those feelings. When you open a file, any file, and you're going to relive it, that memory is going to allow you to feel those emotions as if they were in real time. You know, it's only a memory, but it's going to bring up real emotions. Your heart might be really feeling really good. There's all these feelings going on through your body. It feels real. So if you felt empowered in the past, you can go back to that memory and relive it, and it can help you feel powerful right now. Now, of course, I'm going to go opposite that. So imagine you went to a file of your worst nightmare, a negative experience. And this is just an example. And this has happened to me when my kids were teenagers. My one daughter ended up stuck in Cleveland. Her car got towed. It was really late at night. My brain just started spinning all of these terrible, terrible scenarios. My heart, I was crying. My heart was beating. I had all these adrenaline chemicals flowing through my body. It was a horrendous experience for me. When I talked to her, afterward, it was an uncomfortable experience for her, but it wasn't nothing like what I went through. And I did that all with my mind. All with my mind. And it was a terrible night for me. Nothing really happened. It all played out in my head. But my body thought it was real and my mind thought it was real. Because my mind doesn't care if I'm focused on something real or imagined. Isn't that crazy? So here's another activity for you. Let me see. I have to move myself here because I'm in the way. Move myself down here. So in your notebook, we're going to let your mind wander back to look for a file that contains a fearful moment, one that contains an embarrassing moment, and one that's the worst moment in your life. Now, if you don't want to do all three, that's your choice, but maybe pick two of them or one of them that is very intense for you. And jot it down. What were the sights, the sounds, the smells? Write down again, brain dump as much as you can remember about that particular event or situation or that memory. Just dump it all down in your notebook. Okay. On the opposite, the positive end, find a file, just like we did a few minutes ago, that contains an empowering moment, one of the happiest moments of your life, the best day, the best moment of your life. Again, pick one, do them all, whatever you have time for, and brain dump those feelings. All the details, everything you remember, the sights, the sounds, everything that you can about that, the smells, how you felt. And again, just brain dump that onto your paper. And you'll notice that you're reliving these memories as if you're in real time. You can feel the emotions of the negative memory and then contrast that to the memory of the best or the happiest moment in your life. And you will experience those positive emotions. But you can see what's happening there. It's crazily powerful. Okay. So go back to each memory, label the files with the emotions you felt, if you didn't do that already. Was it anger? Was it fear? Was it frustration? On the negative memory, was it delight, joy, happiness, giddiness, laughter, lightness on the positive side? So you're just labeling, you're just identifying the emotions. Again, no judgment. So finish those activities when you're done here or as soon as you have time. So most people allow their minds to run uncontrolled, just out of control. They don't pay attention to it. They aren't conscious of their choices. They just run on default. And your brain is processing thousands of different stimuli every moment. So you have all these things coming at you all day long, constantly. Your brain is thinking thousands and thousands of thoughts every day. That's a lot for your brain to handle. That's one reason it likes those habits and those patterns, because it kind of relieves it of some of having to figure out everything that's coming into it. So if you don't make conscious choices about where to concentrate your attention, then whatever's creating the biggest commotion is what you're drawn to. Okay, so what's ever making the biggest commotion, the biggest drama, that's where your focus goes. If you don't intentionally focus your attention on something positive. So you must pay attention to what's going on right in front of you, or what you want to pay attention to. We're going to do something I call the black activity. And this will demonstrate how powerful of a filtering system our brain has. So I'm going to ask you to look around your room, wherever you're at, and look at everything that's black. Everything that's black. You're going to focus on any black color that you see. So go ahead and do it. Okay, now close your eyes and see if you can recall all the objects you saw that were blue. It's hard to do, isn't it? I've done this activity many times, and every time it throws me for a loop. Because you weren't looking for blue, you were looking for black, so your mind was focused on something black. It wasn't paying attention to anything blue. You might have been able to remember a few things, but not as many black things. And you can choose any color that you want, and it's going to work no matter what. That's your brain filtering system at work at its best. You see exactly what you're looking for. So say you have this file in your brain that says how ugly you are, and it's just labeled ugly. So you open that file, or maybe it's open all the time, and somebody makes a compliment about what you're wearing, or how nice your hair is, or your earrings, whatever. But your brain just disregards it. It just throws it out because it contradicts that belief and that file that you have opened. So it disregards a beautiful comment that somebody gave you because your belief was turned on that you're ugly. Isn't that amazing? That is just our brain. That's why we have to pay attention to it, because it's doing these things to us that we should have a choice in. So what your brain tries to do is it tries to bring you more evidence of what you already believe. So if ugly is your belief, then you're going to constantly be looking for things that validate the fact that you're ugly. Doesn't matter that you're not ugly. Have you ever heard that story where a beautiful woman thinks she's ugly and everybody's like, my God, you're beautiful. But in her brain, she's not attractive for whatever reason. And we can't understand it because what we're seeing is beautiful, but what she's perceiving in her head is something totally different, because her brain is bringing her evidence that she's not attractive. So it goes into this autopilot, and it drops back on your unconscious beliefs that were created maybe ages ago that you've forgotten about. So it will just go on autopilot. And if you don't pay attention, then that programming of your mind is going to control your future. If you want something different, you have to think something different. Your mind gets into this rut. thinks the same thoughts over and over again. That file is open and is attracting negative things that are similar or the same to it. Your brain is looking for confirmation of what your file is telling us. So you have to make a conscious choice in each and every moment. Every moment you're planting a seed for a future experience. And how do you want that future experience to be? Positive one, an uplifting one, one that's dragging you down or one that's pulling you forward in a positive way. Are you planting thoughts that bring you joy? Are you planting things that make you feel sad? Are you remembering experiences that make you feel powerful or like a victim? Are you counting your blessings and being grateful and appreciative, or are you worried about an unknown future? Are you enjoying every breath every day? Are you counting and complaining about your health? Things to think about again. That's hopefully my intention here, is to at least give you something to think about and become aware of. So remember, your mind doesn't know the difference between a memory, an observation, or a daydream. So if you're imagining failure, guess what you're going to get? If you're imagining the best and expecting the best, that's what you're going to get. Life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you're thinking of, whatever energy you're generating, whatever thought patterns, whatever, if you're going in the positive direction or the negative direction, that's how your life is going to play out for you. So your job is to find a better thought or a better picture or a better visualization of what you want in the future and how your future is going to look. Is this picture that I'm holding up in my mind what I want to experience, or do I have to make a U-turn and find something better? Because, it's not something I want, so I got to flip around and go in a better direction. So here's another activity for you. Describe in detail a strong worry file and a favorite daydream file. We kind of already talked about this, so this is something that you've already done. So again, you're looking at a negative file and a positive file, and label the emotions that you feel. So we've probably done that. Maybe that's not something you need to do, but this is what I want you to get to pay attention to. Pay attention to the little signals that your body is sending you when you focus on a negative file or negative thought patterns or positive thought patterns. Pay attention to what your body's telling you. Do you feel something in your gut? Do you feel your heart flutter? Do you feel a tightness in your throat? Do you feel some head tension? Or do you feel love and joy in you get a big grin on your face? Pay attention to those little signals. Because your emotions are your truest guide to help you identify if you're getting closer to or further away from your desires. So some people are, and this is again a society thing, I think, we're dismissive of our emotions, especially men and boys. They tend to shove their emotions under because, boys don't cry, men don't cry, blah, 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 blah. They don't show emotion because then they're not strong. They're seen as weak. But actually what they're doing is they're putting a damper on their guidance system. When your thoughts are so habitual, you might not really know what you're thinking because, they're the same ones over and over and over and over. So you might have to rely on your emotions more. What kind of emotions are coming out? If they're positive emotions, you're going in the right direction. If they're negative emotions, you're going in the wrong direction. Think of it as a GPS. How many of us love our GPSs, whether it's on your phone or a separate GPS device? I go most places with my GPS. I love my GPS. And I'm so grateful for my GPS because it guides me step by step, road by road, turn by turn. It knows where I'm at and it knows where I want to go. So it helps me get from point A to point B. Think of your emotions as your GPS. First, you clearly decide what it is you want. Then you create a strong, positive, powerful picture in your head because our brain loves pictures. And then something incredible happens. You have a feeling or emotions to tell you if you're going in the right direction, if you're getting closer to your desires or getting farther away from your desires. Think back in your life, how many times were you being given the emotions of something negative that did not feel good, that were upsetting, and you did it anyway? And then those feelings got stronger and more negative things happened. I know of my life situations where that happened. Then think of a time in your life when your emotions were positive and wonderful and everything was working out beautifully. It's because you were using your emotions as your GPS system. You were trusting them. You were following those step-by-step guidance steps. So you have this system hardwired into you. You have your own GPS system. Think of your emotions as a GPS system. Your positive emotions are encouraging you to keep moving in that direction. Your negative emotions are telling you, warning, warning, change direction, change direction. It's not going to feel good going down here. Go in a different direction. So you get to choose which direction you are taking by using your you get to choose which direction by using your emotional guidance system. Whoa, did that get really bright? My light was falling over, which was making my computer fall over. So once you have programmed into your mind what you want, then your mind starts searching, attracting things that are going to validate what you told it to do. Isn't that interesting? So here's another activity for you. And these, again, you can create lists of these. What emotions do you feel most often? What emotions do you rarely feel? What are your emotional default settings? We have an emotional default. Do you always default to the negative and the whining and the complaining, or you default to, oh, everything's going to work out fine? You do have a default setting that maybe you're trying to change, you're trying to improve upon. So ask yourself, what would you have to do in order to experience a certain feeling? So, for example, you want to feel peaceful. Okay, so what do you have to think in order to feel peaceful? You have to start bombarding your brain with peaceful statements, peaceful thoughts, peaceful activities, so that you start to feel more peaceful. and we're bombarding our brain to get it to start creating different thought patterns. You know, what would you have to focus on in order to have that emotion become part of your life, part of your thought patterns on a regular basis? Some people say that, you know, well, if a certain situation would change, then you would feel better. And that's not really how it works, though. And that's what the bulk of the majority of people say that or feel that without maybe not even realizing it. But you have to find a way to feel better first, and then the results will show up. So you can't expect life to bring you a certain thing and then you'll feel happy. You need to feel happy, and then that will attract that wonderful life experience. So it's a little bit opposite what we think, the way we think it should play out. So if you want to feel a certain way, don't wait for conditions to change. You need to change what's going on up here. Then the conditions will change. So that may be a huge shift in your perspective, but give it a try. And then you can write in your section that says this stuff works, what's actually playing out once you make that shift. Have you been writing in your joy journal? You know, have you been writing daily different things about how you feel or what you're appreciating? What you're appreciating every day. You know, that's a section in your notebook. This is going to fall over. Even if it's two things, if it's one thing, start out with a few and work your way up. Maybe you'll end up doing a whole page every day. But once you start that, you'll start to feel more positive emotions come your way. It's like magic. It really is. Look for things to appreciate. I'm telling you, it really, really works, and it's going to shift things for you. So I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop the recording, and I will start there the next time. And we're going to start to really focus on what we can do to transform our life and how we're going to, you know, create this positive future. I've already given you lots of activities, but we're going to try to finish it up in the next session. I know I put a couple of sessions together here because if I didn't, I could draw this out into like a 6 or 8 week thing. So forgive me for cramming a lot of stuff in, but I wanted to, you know, make it in a more compressed time frame. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're doing some of these activities and you're starting to see which direction your thought patterns are and that you can change them and create new ones. I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy, but it can be done. If you're constantly feeding your brain these positive thoughts and activities and visualizations, it's got to be constant. I've been doing this for many, many years, and at the beginning, it's anytime you do something new, you know, it's always kind of tricky and time consuming and laborious at the beginning, just like learning to drive a car, learning to skate. It's always difficult at the beginning, but once you keep practicing and practicing and practicing, I promise it gets easier and easier and easier. So I highly encourage you to practice and keep going. If you mess up one day and you know, you fall back into some old patterns, so what? Just change it. The next day, do something better. The next hour, do something better. And your life will shift. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on this journey with me, and we will see you at the next session. All right. Bye-bye.